I got pregnant at 16 years old. My family decided to disown me. Well, 10 years later, now they want to reunite. So I told them this very sternly. At 16, I slept with my good friend Jared. The condom broke and my daughter was created. My parents, who were great until this point, did not like that and wanted me to get an abortion. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I wanted to keep the baby, of course. My parents told me to pack my stuff and leave the house and their life. So I did. I went to my friend's house and his parents took me in. They weren't thrilled, but they said that we had all the help we needed as a new family member was in the making. In that time, my friend and I started to develop feelings for each other. I had my daughter. About 2 months later, Jared's brother came back into their life. He was a recovering heroin addict. As we had the baby, my mother-in-law told him he could not stay with us. Eventually, they let him stay more, and he was spending the nights until he had a relapse and stole a bunch of stuff. My parents got wind of that. They dug up a bunch of stuff and found that my mother-in-law also fought addiction after an accident she had 15 years ago, left her addicted to pain medicine. So they called CPS on us and a whole investigation was opened. It was a dark time. I thought they were going to take my baby. In the end, they did not find anything substantial. But them calling CPS on me transformed me into a tradition over the years. As it was a small town, every mistake I made got back to my parents. I was a half an hour late to pick up due to my job. CPS charges because neglect. I was out after 10 p.m. with my toddler. This happened twice because we went to family gatherings. CPS. Christmas, loads of people stayed at Jared's house because it was a big family. CPS. Because many strange men were there. They eventually stopped it because they were fined for calling them on me unnecessarily. If they had done it more, I think it could have been an offense. The last call was 5 years ago. Eventually, Jared and I married when we were 23, and we were quite happy. We worked retail jobs and studied. It took us longer than average to graduate, but we did. With a lot of help of his parents, Jared's now an engineer, and I work as a graphic designer. We were able to afford a big flat and finally moved out of his parents' house. Our lives look normal now. Anyways, a week ago, I get a call from my mother who told my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer and that his ultimate wish is to see me and my daughter again. I don't really know what to do because while they did not have to take care of me while I was pregnant, I wish they had at least supported me. And while I get that they were panicking because they thought I was going to be an unfit mother, they made my life hell for 5 years. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. It turns out there's a full update for this story. I hope you guys are enjoying the content so far. If you are, smash that like button. Here's the update. After some thought, I decided to first meet my parents alone. I wanted to make a decision based on their remorse and development as human beings. And they sadly did not really change. When I agreed to meet, I also told them it would be without my kid. I don't know why, but they thought they were going to meet her. They had brought presents and all. They were very disappointed, to say it lightly, when I showed up without her. They made no deal to hide it too, but we talked. They failed to take any responsibility for their actions. Every apology began with, "We are sorry if you..." When confronted about the CPS calls, they say they were doing what was best for our daughter. I got really mad but tried not to snap. They brought up every single mistake I did as a young mother, and that they just thought I was too young and irresponsible to have a kid. That daughter only turned up good because of luck. After they said that, I laid down money from my mill, stood up and said, "Well, nothing's changed. You're still heartless people that threw me out years ago and made my life hell for half a decade. You'll never meet her. She's happy and she has loving grandparents. They started to freak out, saying that I could not withhold their grandchildren from them. I just said, you lay in the bed you make. I left and have not talked to them since. Mails or letters from them are thrown out on the spot. I'll eventually explain to my daughter what happened to me and my parents, and will give her the chance to meet them when she's older. But for now, I don't want to deal with their crap. Well, let's just hope that OP keeps this toxicness out of her life for good. Nobody deserves to be put through that, especially how her parents claim to have changed, but they're still the same narcissistic people. Guys, if you're in OP's position, drop in the comment section how you would go about interacting with your parents. Would you let your little baby meet them, or strictly say no contact? Drop your thoughts down below, and we're going to turn our attention to the final story of the day. Am I the a-hole for calling a guy a Nepo hire after he said I'm a diversity hire? This is a very heated workplace story, guys, so let's jump right in it. So, I'm 22 and female, and recently started working at a prestigious company that is unfortunately very male-dominated. On my team, for example, I'm the only woman. There's Asian guys, another black guy, but it's mostly white dudes. And this is actually one or more diverse teams. As a woman of color, it's been a challenging and oftentimes isolating experience. Anyways, one of my coworkers is the nephew of the CFO, and we started our roles at the same time. He's a white guy, an entitled little douche, and incompetent in my opinion. For whatever reason, he's always disliked me from the very start, often trying to start arguments, being overly competitive, etc. It was difficult dealing with this because I did not want to lose my job. Anyways, last month was an incident that occurred where my boss chose me over M to accompany him to an industry event. This really upset M, who assumed he'd be invited. He's acting like a bigger jerk ever since. This all came to a head when I got lunch with my female colleague from another department. M insisted on joining us. He started questioning me about the event, but I wasn't interested in discussing it. Then he accused me of manipulating people to get ahead. Ridiculous. And that our boss obviously wants to show off his, quote, exotic diversity hire. For your information, I'm multiracial and come from a poor, dysfunctional background. M joked that I tick a lot of boxes. So, we argued back and forth, with him accusing me of having it easy. Again, ridiculous. Till he once again says that I am obviously diversity hire bimbo. I was extremely mad and told him that he's privileged nepotism baby who literally gets everything handed to him. I said he'll forever be bask in mediocrity, blissfully unaware of how utterly incompetent he truly is. I also told him that nobody will ever say that to his face, so he should be happy I'm doing him a favor. I said this knowing full and well I'd lose my job in the worst case scenario. Our colleagues gasped immediately and told me to apologize to M, who looked taken back and confused more than anything. However, I did not apologize. I left. Later on, M told me that what I said was ducked up and crossed the line. He claimed that he did not insult me and that I took it way too far. Then he said that I'm, quote, lucky that he's choosing not to report this. Am I the a-hole in this situation? Let's read a comment. Stated from the story, quotations, then he said I'm lucky that he's choosing not to report this. Tuh, yeah, he's too embarrassed to report this because what you said is true. I'm curious, did your coworker also gasp at the racist and misogynistic thing this guy said and demand he apologize to you? If not, why not? Not the a-hole, And wish I'd been on Fly on the Wall to see this dude's smug face and entitled demeanor crumble. Guys, I agree. I think that man deserved to crumble. Let me know your revenge you would take on this jerk. Drop them down in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love reading stories for you guys. You can find me doing it every single day. I hope you have a wonderful night, and Mr. Reddito, I'll catch you in the next one. The latest Mr. Reddito producer, Christine Billings. Thank you so much for the support.